Hey guys, the Point here, and welcome back to another video. And today we are going to be covering Scoreboard, Trigger, and Testfor. Sorry for that being cut off there. And currently we are at 264 subscribers, so thank you again so much for that. And so far we've covered title execute, title, focal, and setback, locate, other 1.11 command changes, and today we're covering Scoreboard, Trigger, and Testfor. Sorry if I'm talking a bit too fast, but yeah. Okay, so the first command, as I said, we're going to be covering is Scoreboard, and this is going to be a bit of a longer episode because Scoreboard is a bit complicated. But I'm also incorporating Trigger in this time. So last series I did, I think, Scoreboard, Testfor, and how to create a randomizer. But in this case, I'm just going to be doing Scoreboard, Trigger, and Testfor because, yeah, I feel like it'll make a bit more sense anyway. Okay, so the Scoreboard command works very, very simply. So the way it works is you do Scoreboard, and then you'll notice the three options it gives us are objectives, players, and teams. So what Scoreboard is used for is it's used for to save players' scores for certain things. Say for example I were to go Scoreboard objective, right, you'll notice it gets me all these options. I'll just give you as an example right now. If I were to add an objective, and I'm going to set the name to be, so I'm putting the name just straight after add, putting the name to be deaths, and then I'm going to set the type of it to be death count. I'll explain all this in just a minute. And then Scoreboard objective display sidebar deaths. And if I kill myself, you'll notice it shows that I have one death. So you could do things like that, but how exactly does that work? Okay, so starting with Scoreboard objectives. Objectives are, in itself, what the actual objectives are. So, you know, you might have it set to a death count, you might have it set to, say, every time a player places down a certain block. So you can list the objectives first off. So these are my current objectives. I do have some left over from last series. Along with that, you could go ahead and add. So as you saw there, once you go to add an objective, you do the name. So say for example, I want to name it death count, like that. And then criteria type. And sorry for a bit of lag here if you can't really hear me perfectly. But you'll notice you could have the objective set to a lot of different things. So I could have it when the player uses, say, a redstone block, or I could even set it to experience. So let's for now, and oh yeah, and triggers also one of them. But for now, actually, let me name this experience and set to XP. Actually, you know, we'll have the actual experience named XP, and then the display name, which is what the last thing is what it'll actually show up as. So if I go scroll objective set display sidebar XP and set into survival mode, I think actually I have to grab myself a ball of experience. But you'll notice here, there we go. Now notice I gained 18 experience points from that. It's pretty simple. Okay, so now how did I set that on the side? Well, you notice if I go again to Scoreboard objectives, well, first off, you could remove them. You could remove any objective just by doing remove from the name, or you could set display. And what set display means is that it'll show up in a certain place. Say, for example, I want to set my deaths, or set, okay, sorry. First, you do the slot. So sidebar.team, really not super important. I never used it, but you could research a little bit if you find it interesting. But say for example I would set to the sidebar. Sidebar is what's on the side there. Say for example again I could set experience to the sidebar, or I could just do set display sidebar with nothing on it in order to clear the sidebar. So that's what the sidebar is. There's also the list, which I will show you just a minute, and we'll set our under list deaths. So you notice when I press tab, right there, that's list. There's also the below name, and below name means that if someone's looking at you, then they'll see it right below your name, like so. Alright, so that's Scoreboard objectives. So now to move on to the other Scoreboard commands. So there's Scoreboard players. Now players is how you manipulate this. So if I go Scoreboard objective set display sidebar, I think I have one, let's see, what's the random one I have? I have one called bridge. Sure, why not? It was just a random one I think I was playing around with at some point. But yeah. Okay, so say for example I have to do Scoreboard players. Well, the first one is set. So Scoreboard player set, and then player name, bridge, 1. I could also do, say, add player name. Sorry, not set, add player name, bridge 1, and it'll add one to it, remove one from it. You could have negative scores. You could reset the player. But I'm not going to do that because it'll reset all my objectives. And let me weather clear really quick. Along with Scoreboard players, all that, you could do list, which will show you what players are tracked on the scoreboard. Enable has to do with trigger, and I'll show you that later. Test has to do with testing for if the player is within a certain range, and operation has to do with like algebra and all that, and tag is actually a very useful one. So for example, I wanted to do tag Wavejump games add admin, and actually I'll show you really quick if no one's on my server what this does. Never mind, actually I won't do that right now. But essentially, yeah, the way tag works is you could have certain attributes set to a certain player. So for example, if I head over to my other area over here, then there is one of them here has the tag one, and yeah, obviously you're not going to memorize all of them. I mean, you could memorize all of them, but most people won't be memorizing every single tag here. But alright, anyways, so yeah, so you could let me find one that uses a tag really quick here before I run out of time. And yeah, so for example, I could do say id tag equals my tag, and so we create our tag as a name of admin. And if we do say id tag equals admin, you'll notice it does that. So you could manipulate people based on their tags rather than using scoreboard teams. Alright, so moving on here, and sorry if this doesn't seem like super continuous because I did have to re-record the segment because I recorded the segment before and it was terrible. Moving on, we're going to be moving on to trigger, and what I did is I did scoreboard, objectives, add, and then I made one called triggered, and then, sorry, I keep forgetting that when I press tab it does this, but anyways, I set the type to trigger, and yeah, pretty simple, and then I'm going to set the sidebar to trigger. Alright, so the way a trigger works is essentially, first off, you want to have a command block that that will go scoreboard, players, enable, the player name, and then the name of the objective. So in this case, we're doing triggered, lowercase, and yeah. So now what you could do is say I was an opt. So if I were to say click on a link in chat that were to set my triggered score to 1, you'll notice all of a sudden trigger changes set 1. So to explain this a bit better, I'm going to go ahead and hop on to Party Out Herobrine's Realm and go ahead and kind of explain to you what the heck is going on. And I don't know what's on the right there, but anyways, say for example here, this is my experience book. Anyways, so here, this is my experience book right now, and essentially the way this works is that I could click here and you'll notice it shows my experience. Now, here's the thing. If I was an opt, that would still work. So, essentially the way this works is when I click on this, it runs a /trigger command and goes trigger Wavejump games set and then whatever the trigger name is. So I think in this case, it's like, get experience or something like that. Yeah, it's get XP. So you'll notice here I have scoreboard players enable add a get XP, and then everybody who scores as get XP is set to 1, it will tell them, or will have their levels told to them. So you could also use this to say refresh the book, right? You could have all sorts of options for survival kind of triggering, and you basically you don't have to give people up to do this stuff. All right. So anyways, we're going to head back to the world for our last command to cover, which is Testfor. And yeah, I should also say, trigger obviously appears as a really complicated command at first, but it's really simple. So I'm going to be let's see, I'm going to set this back to, let's set that to nothing. Okay. Anyways, next command we're going to be covering is Testfor, and Testfor works pretty simply. Okay, so Testfor allows you to test, did I just say test floor? Yes, we're testing for the floor. Currently, there's no floor right here, so that's not going to work. No, but anyways, so Testfor can test for certain things. Say, for example, I were to summon a pig. And I'm going to give it a custom name of test. So now you notice I have a pig who's named Test. So now I could do Testfor, and if you're confused as to what that data tag at the end is, check out my video on entity data. It's a 1.10 video. I'm planning to come out with a 1.11 video soon though. But anyways, I'm going to do Testfor ID type, or actually I'm just going to Testfor ID, and then I'm going to go custom, or actually I think I just do name : test, or quote test more so, and I did that completely wrong. So yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, anyways, you would do something, and I always forget how to do this because they're always really weird data structures. But anyways, let's see, could I do, oh, it was custom name. Anyways, yeah, no, it found test as soon as I had it custom name test, and of course I could get rid of view now. But what's cool is that you could use this with chain command blocks, and if you don't understand how chain command blocks work, I do have an episode on the different types of command blocks, which if you want I could send you a link to. But anyways, you'll notice this right here is a repeating command block that tests for any player in a radius of 2. Now, after that player is tested for, it says the player's name. So, because I'm right there, it says my name. And of course, I could do test for at a radius of 2, and say at a radius of 2 to see if you can get layer 2. Actually, it wouldn't work with pig because a pig is not a player. But as soon as I walk near, because I am a human, it would theoretically work, but yep, it did work. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, that's pretty simple, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, go ahead and leave a like down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, guys, also I'm planning to make a video on how to make a thumbnail, so if you would be interested in that, let me know, because I'm not sure, and I have to figure out as well if it'll lag out my computer. But anyways, guys, once again, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.